You're watching World of Athletics. Coming up in this episode, we take a look at the next generation of track and field talent in Barcelona. We meet a British sprint king who has now turned his hand to finding new stars. First up though, we're off to Germany for a rather unusual jumping event. In such a competitive climate, sport needs to be innovative in order to survive. Sport needs to be attractive to lure competitors, and then there's the small detail of trying to fit in somewhere on the calendar. The inaugural edition of the Buderus Kölner RheinSpringen found a spot in the calendar and lined up a splattering of the world's pole vault and long jump elite. Unfortunately, the weather is one factor you can't control. Reigning Olympic champion Steve Hooker was in Cologne looking for form and confidence, but the inclement conditions did not make the Australians' task any easier. The city centre format of the event makes for a great spectacle, aided by the fact that German stars were out in force, namely Tim Lobinger, Carsten Diller in the pole vault, plus world champion Lazaro Borges of Cuba. Well, Carsten Diller, with his own choice of music to motivate him, was the eventual winner on the day. Diller managed 5 metres 40, Hooker's best to date in 2012, on a day when just getting over the bar was the main aim and not about achieving Olympic standards or personal bests.
Spaß hatte ich auf jeden Fall.
I had fun anyway. Everything was conforming to the rules. I think the tailwind has done nothing for us though, but it's all part and parcel. It was obviously a bit difficult warming up in the rain, then you had to feel your way really. That's why we started out at the low heights. I felt good and reached 5.4 at least. That's an acceptable result given the conditions, I think.
A boost for Carsten then, who at that stage had not made the Olympic squad despite being in fine physical condition.
My preparations are in full swing, but I'm not yet qualified. I was third at the German Championships, but Björn Otto was nominated as the fourth because of his average, and his top performance is better too. That's something I have to accept. That was a big blow for me last week though. The season goes on though, and I'm still trying to improve my personal best. I'm certainly fit.
Even though Steve Hooker finished well down the order, the Australian was philosophical about the day's activities and his upcoming Olympic-sized assignment.
Oh, look, I think the crowd did a great job to stick around for as long as they did. It was raining the whole afternoon. It was disappointing the weather didn't turn up today, but that's the way it goes.
The 30-year-old from Melbourne is quite a way off his best form, but can still put a brave face on things when discussing his current position.
Oh, not good. It's hard when you turn up and it's not really a competition. We tried to do a training session, kind of make the most of the conditions, but even still, it wasn't very good.
Over to the long jumpers now, where both the men and the women were in action, and we start with the ladies, where a trio of local girls were hoping to get the better of last year's World Championship silver medalist Olga Kucherenko. It was always going to be a tall order for the German jumpers, but closest to the Eastern European was Beatrice Marschak, whose best attempt measured 6 metres 23. But that gallant effort was still some way off as the favourite produced what was expected of her, winning the competition by 40 centimetres. The win to Kucherenko with that leap of 6 metres 63, which put her in fine stead ahead of the Games in London. Well, no win for Germany on the women's side, but there was still hope in the men's competition, where Mario Kral was in action, but he was off the pace as South African champion Zarek Visser showed his mettle. Well, Visser is not in London, where his countryman Mokoena will hope to be on the podium again, as he was in Beijing in 2008. But the young pretender did win here with a jump of 7 metres 67. Well, that brings proceedings to an end on the wet and windy banks of the Rhine in Germany. The weather wasn't fantastic, but the athletes certainly did their best to warm things up.